For this video, we are looking at doing the opposite of the last one, which is we have a number expressed in percent form and we want to express it in fraction form. So we've got these these four examples. This is again the check number 2 from page 100 in your workbook. So the first one, we have 36%, and the first thing we want to do to convert it into a fraction is to first express it as a decimal number. So 36% means we have 36 out of 100. So we're going to write 36 hundredths as a decimal. So that means we're going to put our 36, we want it to end in the hundredths place. So when we're thinking about our place value. So we have 0.36, and again, you'll notice that 6 is in the hundredths place. Next, I want to write that as a fraction. So if I'm writing that as a fraction, again, I'm thinking about the fact that it's out of 100, so I'm going to write that as 36 out of 100. Now that's fine, because now I've done what it asked me to do. I have a percent, and I've expressed it as a fraction. But just to sort of go back and keep practicing our fraction skills, I actually want to write that in simplest form. So I'm going to look at 36, the numerator, and 100, the denominator, and try to think of what they are both multiples of. So, well, they're both even numbers, so I know right away they're both multiples of 2. And from there I think, well, 36 is a multiple of 3, but 100 isn't, so that's no good. But 4, they're both multiples of 4, right? And then if I sort of keep thinking about it, I think that's probably the largest common denominator, or sorry, the largest common multiple. So I'm just going to divide them both by 4. So that gives me 9/25. So if I want to write 36% as a decimal, or sorry, 36% as a fraction, I can either write 36 hundredths or 9/25. Both are correct. Next, I'm going to look at B, which is 5%. And I have to be a little bit careful when I'm turning 5% into a decimal, because remember, percent is out of 100, so I want that 5 to be in the hundredths place. So remember, the hundredths place is the second one after the decimal. So I'm going to write 0.05. Okay. So again, just a little bit, be careful there, because sometimes people write 0.5, which would not be correct. I have 5%, that means I have 5 in the hundredths place, so I have 0.05 for my decimal there. And then I need to turn it into a fraction. So again, it's in the hundredths place, means I can write it as a fraction out of 100. So I have the fraction 5 hundredths. Once again, I'm going to just check and try to put it into simplest form. So if my numerator is 5, 5 is a prime number, so I know that the only thing you can divide it by is 1 or 5, which works out quite nicely because 100 is divisible by 5. So I'm going to go 5 divided by 5 and 100 divided by 5. So that gives me 1 out of 20, 1/20. So 5% I can write as 5 out of 100 or 1 out of 20. Again, both are correct. My next question is 44%. So same idea, I'm going to turn it into a decimal number first and then into a fraction. So once again, 44% means 44 out of 100, so I can write 44 hundredths, both in decimal and fraction form. So I'm looking at my numerator and my denominator, trying to see if they're multiples of the same number. They're both even, so they're definitely both multiples of 2. They're not multiples of 3, but they're also multiples of 4, right? Because 44 is multiple of 4, and 100 is multiple of 4. And I can sort of keep going, but like they're not going to work for 5s, because multiples of 5 always end in 0 or 5. I know that they're not going to work for 6, because they didn't work for 3. They're not going to work for 7, just you sort of have to just know the multiples of 7. And they're not going to work for 8 either. So at that point, we're thinking probably 4 is our largest common multiple. Or sorry, largest common factor. But even if we don't get it, even if we don't hit like the greatest common factor the first time, it's okay because we can always like take it another step. It's not a big deal. But I am going to use 4 to find my simplest fraction. So there we've got 44% is the same as 44 out of 100 or 11 out of 25. Again, if you don't get to the 11 out of 25, it's okay. Because they've just sort of asked us to write it as a fraction. So I just wanted to review when we're talking about putting things in lowest form. And then we've got D, which is 86%. So same idea, 86% means 86 out of 100. So we're going to write that as 86 hundredths, both in decimal and fraction form. And then I'm going to think, okay, 86 and 100 are both even, so they can both be divided by 2. But then I'm going to sort of run through the other ones. 3 doesn't work, 4 doesn't work, 5 doesn't work, 6 doesn't work, 7, 8, 9. I'm pretty sure the 2 is just going to be the only thing that works for me here. So there I get that 86 out of 100 is equivalent to 43 out of 50. And then just checking the 43 and the 50. 43 is a prime number. That means it's only divisible by itself and 1. And then 50 definitely isn't divisible by 43. So that means it's good. We've got our fraction in simplest form. And that's basically what we're going for here. 86. So just to go through that, 86% is equal to 86 out of 100, also equal to 43 out of 50. Once again, the simplest form, lowest terms thing here, where we've got a second fraction for each of them, was just me wanting to practice the fraction skills. So long as you can get it into a fraction, like if you can get 36% is 36 out of 100, that's great.